Welcome, everyone, to our weekly series. We'll jump right in and get started now because we have a number of very important and interesting guests today who are going to speak with us. I'm Sarah Wilson-Soki. I'm a political science professor at the University of Colorado Boulder. So again, as you're joining now, we have some people that are just joining. I've put the speaker series, the link to that, if you want to look at the schedule in the chat. So, добрый вечер, ласково просимо. And I wanted to thank our sponsors this morning before we jump in. We have isar.ednannia is sponsoring us, PONARS Eurasia at George Washington University, and also the University of Colorado is providing some technical support for us as well to hold this series. Today, we're going to be talking about a very important topic, civil society, filling in governance gaps. And as we heard at our launch event a couple of weeks ago from the former ambassador to Ukraine, John Herbst, we think that civil society in Ukraine is really remarkable and unique, and how much it's done and how successful it is in many, many ways. And so we're looking forward from hearing from our variety of guests this morning who will be giving us more insight into that. So I'll turn things over now to Olga Nikolska of isar.ednannia to introduce our guests.
Hello, everyone. We are extremely happy that you joined us today, and we have a lot of speakers today. So we decided that at first, we'll go with like very short presentations of our guests. And I would like to start with Andriy Nemirovsky, founder and director of Volunteering and Help Center. The floor is yours for approximately 2 minutes, Andriy. So do your best to describe the activities of your center for our guests. Thank you.
Thank you very much for invitation to this meeting. Let me introduce myself one more time. I am Andriy Nemirovsky, head of Volunteers and Help Center. Our organization was established in the first days of full-scale invasion in Ukraine. It's united well-known NGOs in our region and also Ukrainian business. We have opened a large humanitarian aid warehouse in Lviv. It's around 8,500 square meters. And additionally, we have 5 small logistics centers in the areas near frontline and also one in Poland. Our main activities, it's medicine, food, hygienic products, clothing, and other humanitarian aids. Till now, our results, it's 1,615 trucks of amount more than $100 million delivered to the frontline zones mostly. And it's involved more than 2,000 volunteers in our organization. Our strong parts, as I think, working with government, because we respond very quickly to the most urgent needs and gaps. Like example, at the very beginning, logistic was collapsed and the Ministry of Health and another organization came to us and asked us to organize logistic for them. We did logistic of mobile hospitals, Starlinks to make hospitals connected to the internet. Also, it was a huge problem with medicine for injuries, and it was not possible to buy it in Ukraine. Then we organized delivery from all world. During the winter time was very big problem with warm clothing and generators, and during the blackouts, and we organized delivery of them. Also, during explosion on Kharkovska Dam, we provided boats, pumps for drainage, water, food, and many other items. Then for now, our main important project that we see, it's repairing of damaged buildings in the areas near conflict zone and in the occupied regions. I personally visit the
okay,
frontline.
Andriy, sorry. we are on a very tight schedule today. And did you hear the music? It was 2 minutes. So I'm sorry, but I'll be cutting off because we want to give the opportunity to everyone to speak.
It's okay, I saw that 2-3 minutes then.
It's
okay, no
really like 2 minutes. Sorry for interruption, but I need to be strict in order to give everyone a chance to talk at least a little bit, because we have a lot of speakers today. Thank you so much. We will get back to you with further questions, so it's not over yet. Please stay with us. And I would like to represent the next guest that we have. It's Dina Volynets. She is the head of the Supervisory Council of Tvoya Opora Charitable Foundation, and she will be brief, I believe. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you so much, Olga. Nice to see everyone. My name is Dina Volynets. As Olga said, I'm the head of supervisory board of Tvoya Opora. Fortunately, Valeria Tatarchuk, who's the head and founder of the charitable foundation Tvoya Opora, had no opportunity to join. So I'll be brief. We were registered in 2014, and our center focused was kids. And our mission at the moment is to help those who need in timely and quality manner. We're the World Heart Federation member. We work with healthcare institutions that heal and treat heart diseases, especially for kids. We also validated by CAF America, CAF, the global charity database. And we also the only focal point in Ukraine for the minimum standards in humanitarian response, the SPHERE project. Our three main directions are healthcare institutions, especially those focused on kids, but we also see those that work in communities that they help not only kids, but their families. So meaning we work with a lot of healthcare institutions. We work with social care institutions like geriatric centers or orphanages in Ukraine. And also since 2022, we work with shelters and help IDPs. And we have our own shelter in Lviv, which is at the moment is the biggest shelter for 180 people in Lviv. The interesting thing is that until 2022, we were working mainly with business, Ukrainian and international one. And the first grant we got actually was in 2022. Prior to that, we worked only with business. We get audited every year using our own funds because we believe in transparency, and we actually think that that helped us attract a lot of business to help Ukrainian healthcare institutions. And for example, in COVID year, we've accumulated 72 million hryvnias for healthcare institutions from business. And last year, 2022, we have the report. We have fundraised around 10 million of US dollars from international organizations and business in Ukraine and worldwide. And also we have
Dina, I don't want to give you more time than the others. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you. And I will be turning the floor over to a unique guest that we have today. Victoria Baltsev is a former director of the Community Foundation of Voznesen, but today she is representing Voznesen City Council. She is the secretary of Voznesen City Council. So she will be wearing kind of two hats at the same time, and I hope that she will tell us some secrets on effective communication and cooperation with local governments, at least. Please, Victoria, 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Olga. Yes, I'm represented Voznesen City Council. It's not big community in the Mykolaiv region. Our community was occupied by Russian troops in the beginning of March last year. And now we start to do all these things with our future recovery plan and build a relationship with international donors, with other municipalities from European countries, with a local international program in my community, and especially we built strong relationship with our local NGOs, because for us it's very important to make a successful project together with civil society and the local governments and international donors. So we try to do this job different way. I don't know how to better to represent myself in this meeting, but I really know how work local NGOs in small communities, because my experience was work like head of a board in Vodnicensk Community Foundation. We provide project and development local philanthropy in community. We built a good relationship with the business. We try to cooperate and make successful project on local level. And now we try to use this experience and build, I don't know how to say it, to maybe build a better future for our citizens together.
Thank you so much, Victoria. This is great. And I am hoping that you could give us some insights in the end when we will try to build like a perfect picture of cooperation between all sectors. Thank you so much. So our next guest will be Yevgen Yanyuk, Development and Partnership Manager of Zdorovi Agency, and he'll tell us in 2 minutes of the main activities of their agency. Please, Yevgen.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very grateful for everyone who's here. So today I'll have an opportunity to introduce you to the Zdorovi National Humanitarian Aid Agency. We were established in 2022. Previous to that, we were working on business basis. So we are conducting business in the same field as we are now working as an NGO. So our organization has made a significant contribution to providing emergency humanitarian assistance to Ukrainian hospitals and other medical institutions. In span of 1.5 years, we've delivered almost 2,000 kits of medical materials and materials, yes. Thank you. And we have delivered to 850 different cities and 1,063 different medical institutions. We often deliver to the areas which are greatly suffered from the war, with damaged infrastructure and suffered after occupation. We also often supply materials that are not, and supplies that are not in Ukrainian metadata system. So we are very helpful to Ukrainian hospital in that. Our team consists of 19 experts specializing in all aspects of humanitarian logistics, medical staff training, and management. Our main advantage is the speed of our reaction, our response. We have developed a so-called rapid response kits, which consists of different medical materials and equipment, which is suited for that or other disaster, if it unfortunately happens.
Okay, Yevgen.
Yes,
2 minutes have passed. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for this presentation. But we have one more introduction to make. And I will be giving the floor to Inna Polishuk, Head of International Communication of Marlok Katsudei. And she will tell us.
Thank you so much.
About the main
fast. I will be very fast speed speaking. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm here to share a story about Marlok, which is a civil association, and it stepped up in challenging times and with the aim to do everything possible to ensure that our country survives, actually. On the 21st, enormous shock, all the thoughts about the safety about our families. By the 25th, we have realized that our families and our friends have spread over all across Ukraine. And the only way to assure their safety is to fight and to do all we can. So on March 10th, 2022, Marlock launched its first aid mission independently. At that time, governmental mechanisms were strained and perhaps unable to respond swiftly. Marlock, without hesitation, extended its hand to deliver its first cargo of aid to encircled Kyiv on March 10th. This was feasible because by the time Marlock had already united 12 teams of local NGOs and independent volunteers, and the majority of these teams has built a network of trusted partners both in Ukraine and abroad since 2014. Today, Marlock is a formidable force of solidarity and assistance. We are having partners in 19 countries, and 36 organizations abroad are in partnership with us. We have 20 network partners in Ukraine and 12 teams operating under the Marlock name. To date, the organization has managed to provide 1,200 tons of humanitarian aid and responded to 2,500 requests all over Ukraine. And so we touched the life of 2 million people. Currently, Marlock focuses on 3 main missions. The first one, to provide assistance to civilians, refugees, and frontline areas. Second one, to provide tactical medicine for soldiers. And the third one, to provide aid to medical facilities. And for us, it's not about only offering help, but forming the alliance and ensuring that people reaches where it's most needed. Today, local government stand alongside Marlock as we have launched a formal memorandum of partnership. And we believe that this collaboration symbolizes potent synergy where civil society not only fills gaps left by governance structure, but also influences and guides them towards more efficient, humanitarian-focused action. And now our main aim is not merely to survive, but to live in a peaceful country. And we will continue doing this doing everything to reach our goal.
Thank you so much, Inna. Now I think we will be welcoming questions from the audience. But while they are thinking, I have prepared several questions of my own. So my first question will be about your motivation. I know that some of you were just started after the full-scale invasion, but some of you were already working and filling some gaps before the war. So my question is, what motivated you to step up? What was the first thought that made your organizations to fill in this governance gap, to step into the shoes of the authorities, let's say, because like not everyone is willing to do this, and the question of motivation, I think, is very important. And you can just turn on your mic and speak. Thank you.
I can start very brief. We started to work with healthcare institutions, and it means that we had to understand the context. We had the healthcare reform recently, which is quite too long. And for example, why we started to work with healthcare institutions like institutes, like Institute of Mosova in Kyiv in Ukraine, is because we had a lot of kids that had to have proper treatment and surgery. But for example, institutes are quite different in a structure than a regular hospital, let's say in community. And the reform was going very slow. And it first touched those in communities, but afterwards it lasted like 5 years till it reached the institutes and other institutions like that. And that's why we helped a lot. And for example, me personally, I have 2 kids, and just thinking that sometime my kids could happen to be in the Institute of Mosova, for example, I would think that I would like them to have a proper surgery, but also I would like, for example, have family room with them. That's why it's quite important that everything that we do with the thought that the beneficiaries get everything that they need with a high quality help, but also we understand that we at some point we do it for everyone, but also for ourselves, because you never know when you end up in a healthcare institution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. Anyone else wants to answer the question?
I would say
Evgeny.
that, I'm sorry.
Oh, just a moment, Dina. He was raising a hand first.
Yeah, thank you. So before the war, as I said, we were doing our commercial business. And so we had the capacity, we have the experts, we have the deep connection within the NHS. And so after the war started, of course, there was a brief period of shock and awe, and we didn't know what to do. And then we pulled ourselves together and formed the NGO to use our expertise to basically help our hospitals, our medical staff who were very in distress with very high demands of quality materials and high quantity of materials. And so we felt that this is our mission and this is what we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evgeny. Inna, please.
Yes, I would like to say that we had everything. We started our volunteering projects in 2014 after Maidan. And after that time, we had already connections, not only with foreign donors, let's say, with trustworthy foreign donors, but also with Ukrainian NGOs. And we had the network of NGOs in the East, in the South, and we could trust them. And when that was a period of time when everything started, and we started simultaneously getting the messages from both, from donors with the questions, what do we like, how can we help you, and what do you need? And the same, we started to get the requests from our friends from the South, NGOs and volunteers. And it was not impossible. It was impossible to think, like, I mean, not to connect everything. That's why we reacted that fast, because we had everything and we had a very trustworthy partners back that time.
Thank you so much, Inna. Anyone else wants to step in and answer the question?
I want to give some my motivation about why we start to cooperate with local civil society organization. Because in local governments, we don't have enough people who have special skills, for example, strategic planning, project management, different type of analysis. So we need people who help us to make right decisions. So it's a better way to find these people, start to cooperate with NGOs, because this organization have some special not just only skills, but people who really understand how to better provide services, for example, for IDPs, how to better to provide services for people with disabilities. So when we start to cooperate with them, we get better decisions and we get resource for soft projects, not just only build something, but we need to organize a process inside this building. And the most important part, make it right, because our service is very important for people, and we need to do this the better way, and we don't have enough resource and we don't have enough people to do this the best. So our cooperation, our partnership with NGO help us to better to make our services better.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Okay. So my next question is, how do you interact with authorities? Give one example. It can be good or bad. It's up to you. Maybe you approached them and they said no. Or maybe they came to you and you said no. So yeah, I would like to hear some nice stories from you guys on cooperation with local, regional, or national authorities, whatever you like. Please share. Thank you. Dina, please.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have a lot of different stories, like on different levels, but the one I actually like is about how we got the memorandum with the Ministry of Health signed. So as I said, we are the focal point for minimum humanitarian standards in Ukraine, and everything we do, like the shelter in Lviv we try to get along with those standards. And last year in March 2022, the Ministry of Health published the requirements for shelters, and those requirements were covering a lot of issues, including hygiene, like water, sanitation, and hygiene. And we understood that those requirements were not even realistic, but they also were not in line with these international minimum humanitarian standards. So what we did, we actually reached out to the ministry. We had a talk with them, and they said, okay, it's nice that you know of the standards. We didn't know. So if you suggest how we can improve the regulation of that, how we can adjust those acts, we could use your help. So that's how it happened that we actually started communicating and trying to promoting minimum standards. And that's how we got the memorandum signed afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dina. Any more volunteers among the speakers? Because we have questions for you, not just that I prepared, but the audience is quite active asking them. So if not, I think I'll turn over to Sarah to present the questions that were asked via Q&A. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, I think Yevgeny has his hand up.
Yevgeny?
Would you like to answer, Yevgeny?
Yeah, very quick. So we work with NHS. We have access to dashboard of the NHS.
Okay, Yevgeny, Yevgeny, hi. Can we start with the uncovering what NHS is? Because I think that our audience
of course,
doesn't know what it is.
So, National Healthcare System. So we have access to the dashboard of the NHS, which helps us to assess the needs of every hospital and cross-reference with their respected required assistance that they send to us. And every time they send their request, we cross-reference it with the NHS dashboard and with MedData system, which is a system of ordering the medical equipment from the NHS to hospitals. It's a government system, and we have an access to it, and so we use it every day to cross-reference any requirements for the hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evgeny.
Yeah, I wanted to add, if it's possible, that this system, we also in the beginning, in the first week, we contacted with Ministry of Health, and we understand that we need some coordination of civil sector, which help they need, and we understand that they can't give us access to the MedData, to the database, but we did together a Power BI system in which we saw all hospitals, what they need, which helps is on the way, and this helped a lot. No, we work with a lot of authorities, but Ministry of Health, they was the quickest, I think, to coordinate civil society. Thank you.
No, it seems to me that access to big data is like of a crucial importance these days. So thank you very much, guys. Sarah.
So we have several audience questions. I'll start with Ina Milnikovska, who says, thanks for your work. As your activities touched upon the economic dimension, supplies, etc., could you elaborate more on your relationships and interaction with the businesses and companies, both Ukrainian or foreign, big companies or small, if it happened? And I believe that Dina Volnitz was going to get us started with a response.
Thank you, Sarah. As I said, up to 2022, we were working mainly with business. And we had a lot of businesses like corporate in Ukraine, like Kyivstar, Novus, but also international, like the banks like Credit Agricole Bank or Sakar companies, like different international companies. And I would say that we also have workshops for local civil society organizations in Ukraine on the topic on how to communicate with business. And it's a pity that most of the civil society organizations in Ukraine believe that they have to ask for money, and they don't get that they have to act like a business, communicating with business, explaining how you can measure the results, what are the main reasons for the business to get engaged. And what we saw and why we actually spend our own money and accumulate our own money to get audited every year is because business values transparency a lot. And for example, we have our own monitoring and evaluation system built by IT specialists, where we measure even the human hours of the equipment that we have established in healthcare institutions, for example, because it's quite important that we have not only the outreach due to business help, but also business wants to know how the investments are going. And what's very important, and sometimes civil society organizations forget in Ukraine, that of course, we can get use of a lot of used equipment from Europe, for example, or United States. But for us, it's quite important that we use only new equipment, because first, there's no utilization system and legislation in Ukraine, meaning we never know what we do with the equipment that got broken or already served for the amount of year it's certified for, and that's why we can't cover those losses. But also, as we follow the minimum humanitarian standards, for us it's important that we were responsible environment-wise. And another is that when you buy new equipment from the provider in Ukraine, even if it's produced abroad, you get the service. And then you can ensure that when the equipment is broken, then there is a service company inside of Ukraine that can come and fix it. Because if you just buy the used equipment, you just give it to a hospital, and if it's broken, the hospital never knows what to do with that. So like it's very important to understand how business thinks, and we had a lot of different projects implemented together, like the shelter that we have. We had the vehicles bought, and we had a lot of different projects together. But it's quite important that, unfortunately, not many civil society organizations and charitable foundations at the moment understand how to work with business. That's why we keep promoting this idea, and we have educational and workshops for that done in Ukraine. Thanks.
Thank you. I can move on to our next question from the audience, from Courtney Copeland. And she says, this is Courtney with the Returned Peace Corps Volunteers Alliance for Ukraine. My question regards how we can best support Ukrainian civil society. As a US-based grant maker, we have a mini grants program. We have tried to be conscientious of balancing the need for rapid emergency response with the need for long-term capacity building. And we've also tried to avoid replacing the role of government with what we fund. What do you advise we keep in mind as we continue to shape our program and support Ukrainian-led projects?
Can I brainstorm? That's only part of my job, but I also work as capacity building specialist with many organizations, but also I work with Ukrainian diaspora organizations abroad. And what I see at the moment is that there is the gap that many organizations not sharing with is, let's say it's not administrative costs, but long-term costs, because many organizations plan project-wise because many donors do not provide long-term grants. And it's quite important because those people in Ukraine, they are actually capable of everything. They can work 24/7 and even more, but they can't even schedule a vacation for themselves. And that means that the level of burnout in Ukraine among civil society organizations and volunteer organizations is huge. Like if you can look for some kind of opportunities that would cover like administrative costs, long-term costs, institutional costs, and just support them on that with small, like, I don't know, whatever, even the office coverage or one personality stuff or communication stuff, for example, something that would be not very big an amount of money, but like consistent and long-term, this would help a lot, I think. Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. And I don't think that a lot of donors think about that they're thinking about these very short-term projects or supplies, and they're not thinking about the fact that this is a long war. Thank you. Yevgeny?
Yeah, I fully agree. I just wanted to boost the message of Dina. Really, we have a lot of project support from international donors, and we are very grateful for it. But the programs for operational support, for operational support for organizations are very limited from international donors. So donors want to see a result, something they can see, they can watch and say, yeah, that's where our money went. And when you, for example, administer salaries or pay for a warehouse or that, well, yeah, you cannot see the result of that. So it's not as what can you say? Not as flashy for a donor. It's very subtle, but it's needed very, very much. Yeah, thank you.
Can I also add?
Sure, Andrei, please go on.
Yes, my opinion, if we are talking strategically, it's important to invest to build the local society, to develop our organization, NGOs, and then in future we can provide quick help ourselves. It's concerning not only operational costs, but also for some communication, to develop organization to be more stronger than for now. And if you are talking tactical, it's important to respond quickly on the most urgent needs. Then we will fill these gaps, because government and big international donors, they need more time to organize everything. And the local societies, they can act very fast. Then if we will have some possibility to receive help urgently, I think this is the most effective way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As our guests are thinking on next questions, I will be using those that I prepared in advance. So we spoke a little bit about how do you communicate with authorities. We covered a little bit the part where you get the information about the needs. But how do you make decisions on assistance provision? Like, I can imagine that at least 50 hospitals of Ukraine are in need of some equipment, or at least like hundreds of communities need some humanitarian assistance delivery to the front line or to the gray zone or to whatever. So how do you prioritize those who will receive the assistance first? Thank you so much. And I can see Dina raise her hand.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's another struggle for many organizations in Ukraine, because we even heard today that we started doing something because we had friends there and they asked us to help some kind of institutions. But we are working here like for more than 9 years, and we believe in transparency. And that's why each time that when we get a request, we're checking it with the dashboard, for example, like guys said. But if we're not talking about healthcare, but for example, help to IDPs or other institutions, we come back to local governments each time that we get a request to check up with them, but also like keeping the standards implemented. We reach out to the beneficiaries themselves, because it's quite important that we allow them to participate in decision making. For example, when Irpin and Bucha were deoccupied, and I'm from Irpin and Valeria from Bucha, we saw many organizations bringing food packages there. But those food packages included grains or something that people had to cook, but they didn't have even water or heat or electricity or something. And we consulted with the local authorities, and they said we need a shower or sauna cars where people can just wash themselves, because they had no this opportunity. And people were asking, I'm sorry, for pants and wet wipes, because for 1 month they were sitting in shelters that they had no water and they were all dirty. So it's like we might think that we can help them with food, but we're about dignity. One of the humanitarian principles is keep people dignity while serving them. And that's why we also check out with local governments and with local beneficiaries who would then keep use of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. And I saw that Andriy and Ina raised hands simultaneously, but in favor of gender balance, we'll let Andriy go first and then Ina.
For me, the first very important, it's coordination with local government authorities, because they know better the situation for the moment, but also very important to visit yourself and see the fields and what's going on. For example, hospitals, we have specialists that goes to the frontline hospitals. They see the situation on their own eyes. A lot of times we received some inquiries for equipment, for example, and when we visited hospitals, they don't have doctors for this equipment. Then if you provide it, it makes no sense. A lot of times when we visited the occupied zones, and we saw a lot of food just staying in warehouses or in houses of people, and it's for 3-4 months in advance. It doesn't make sense. That's very important to understand situation for today, not to do it just to help because you need to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andriy. Ina, please.
Yeah, I would say that, of course, it's quite a hard question how to divide the help that we receive. It's true. At the beginning, we had this established online service where every single NGO, it doesn't matter where it is situated, but every single NGO can apply for, like, do the request. And we checked every single NGO and then decided whether to send the aid to this NGO, depending on the territorial, right, on the where it is situated, what is the situation on the front line at that place. Also, like, for us, it's very important that those who addresses us, they have all official documents, right? Because it's transparency, right? We need to show. And also for us, it's very important feedback, as we ask for the proofs, like, I mean, for the photos, because it's very important for the donors to receive not only the feedback on, let's say, documents, but also the documents from the like evidence that everything was delivered. But I would say that personally, as where we get the information. Like we have, when we gather together in our team after the 24th, like almost 80% of the team has somebody on the front line, the husbands, the brothers, the cousins. We had families, like we had people came from the occupied regions, and that started to help out with us. So, and they, that is the chain of network, I would say. They have like the information, and then they give us the information. So we were in touch with people that were on the front line, so we could understand to which place to give and what to give. And when, for example, we got the request that some place needs 200 tourniquets, and we understand that probably there are places where they are more needed, so we would send there. Just analyzing, understanding the map of the war, I would say.
Thank you so much, Ina. I think we'll be moving forward with our next question. And the question is like that. What do you see as the biggest challenge going forward as government organizations are leaning more heavily on your organization? Will it be like this forever? Is there any chance that, I don't know, you will have the possibility to retire at some point? I don't know. Dina, please.
At this point, I usually refer to European experience and what we see, for example, even in Poland. Many healthcare institutions still got the best healthcare equipment from the civil society. They still have fundraising campaign each year before, prior to Christmas, and then they buy healthcare equipment for the whole country. So I would say that the role of civil society will be there, like especially in Ukraine, for many years. But with what is happening now, I think the biggest challenge for us as civil society organizations, but also local authorities, is to balance between short-term solutions and long-term solutions. Because, for example, it's nice that you have, I don't know, you had the hospital or school destroyed, for example, and you just renovate them. But maybe if we thought about what kind of country or community we would like to see in the future, maybe we had this redesign. And I think that the sustainable approach for long-term solutions designed together with government, because we know they have a strategy for recovery. It's quite important that we coordinate on a higher level, especially with donors, because there are donor communities, there are cluster system, there's RISE community for the rebuilding of Ukraine. I think it's quite important that local organizations and national organizations participate in those coordination meetings and raise the voice of local communities, so that renovation and recovery would go in a sustainable manner. And to the question of like funding, sometimes, not sometimes, 90% of the time, local organizations do not participate in coordination meetings because they don't have time, because they have to fill the reports, they have to deal with projects, they don't have a spare person to participate in those meetings. So it's quite important that we understand that we need long-term solutions, and that's why I talk together on how we can make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. Anyone else? Like an outlook on our bright future?
If it is possible to... Do you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. You have like 2 minutes to present yourself, and then answer the question like 1 minute.
Yeah, my name is Irina Slavinska, and I'm a president of All Ukrainian Association for Blood Donors and also seer of DonorVE, the automated system for recruiting of blood and coordination blood donors of Ukraine. So we are the only that system that are working on a national level with the help of Ministry of Health, not exactly, in a partnership with the Ministry of Health and the Ukrainian Transplant Coordination Center, who are responsible for the blood services in Ukraine. And I totally agree with Dina according to the like answer and your question of the what are the next steps for the state and for the civil societies, how we will survive. Will we survive, and will we collaborate in the next steps with the state authorities? And from my perspective of view, civil societies are more flexible than the state authorities, and could cover more than state authorities, and like. From our organization, we see like the next step to be a part of the same services as state authorities. So we would like to not only recruit blood donors for now, but we would like to be in charge of the production of blood products. As in the USA, in Europe, you can see a lot of like Carter Blood Care, Red Cross, and other NGOs who's responsible for collection, testing, and transporting blood. So we are on that way, and totally understand that we should be a part of this system as Ukraine or maybe other countries also couldn't be responsible for all that stuff. So just to upgrade our services and be a part of the same services and even more effective and better. So I totally agree with the previous speaker, Dina, and we are on the way of that direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irina. Anyone else wants to add something?
Can I add also?
Yeah, sure, of course.
No, my opinion is that civil society is very important, but it can be toxical if we will do everything and state authorities will not do nothing. We can help them, we can support them, but anyway, in future, for sure, they has to be the role player, not NGOs. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I would like to add some special thoughts that I've discovered during the full-scale invasion. I truly believe that state has only two functions: to develop the rules and to control that rules, and all other representatives like private NGOs and other sectors should just follow these rules. And the main role of the covering the needs, medicines, services for people who are in need of these services and medicine just should follow, all these organizations should follow by the state rules. And that are the two biggest functions that is like a little bit too hard to develop in Ukraine, but all of the state authorities are on the way to that.
Thank you so much, Irina. As we are moving to the end of our allotted time, I'd like to ask one last question, and I'd like to ask all of our speakers to speak for 1 minute maximum. And the question is like this. Please paint an ideal picture of the world where NGOs and authorities and businesses coexist for the benefit of people. I just wanted us to dream a little bit in the end and to leave this wonderful meeting on a positive note. So let's do some dreaming. Let's imagine the perfect world for us. Thank you.
Can I start then?
Of course. Go, Irina.
Well, I truly think that so far we don't have an ideal system anywhere in the world. And that's maybe even the best part for us in Ukraine, because we can design it as we want and as we see. And that's why we're actually able to create something new here, and maybe even to show later on to other countries and share this experience to other countries. We already know that even the Estonian government has worked with USAID to implement DIA in their digitalized country, and Estonia is one of the most digitalized countries. So I think that we are here to design something, and I truly believe that without mindset change on a local level, nothing will work, especially considering that we have Ukraine as a very decentralized country, and each community is quite independent and free. And they actually can design their own vision. And I think we already finished the stage where we had big donors designing strategy for all the communities. We finally have the decentralized vision and decentralized capacities. So I truly believe that we are on the way to that. And the thing that we still have to do for that is to keep the government responsible and transparent, because that's about responsibility and accountability. But also I think it's a part of mindset change, because it's about how everyone thinks about accountability, because accountability is how we use the power that we have. And many CSOs and charitable foundations in Ukraine, unfortunately, do not realize that they have power. And I think that it's for us to get finally understanding that each of us have power and we can use it together. So the ideal world is that we all get transparent, accountable, and then we can teach others how to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dina. It was a little bit over like 4 minutes, so I'll ask other presenters to be shorter, even shorter than Dina was. Thank you so much. Ina, I can see you raise the hand.
I want just to say the first one that I totally agree with Dina to get this, and I would add to everything that Dina said that for both for NGOs and for the government, it should be always in mind to be people-centric, and everything you do, it should be oriented on people, like being people-centric. And what is more, adaptation. Like NGOs are very fast in adapting to new to new rules, to new not atmosphere, but to new environment. And I would wish for the government to have this adaptability as well. And in order to get this adaptability, it's always need to be development. We both need to listen to each other, and also what is more important, to learn, develop and to learn all the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ina. Irina, please.
Yeah, I will be even more shorter because Ina and Dina already told everything. Just maybe I will repeat. To develop the rules and to control and coordinate the for all participants following of the rules. And also, yeah, that's very important to be to have in mind that we are doing everything for people who are living in this country, and we need to create for them all the possibilities to develop themselves. So only 2 rules for the government, and freedom and transparency for all participants and coordination of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irina. Yevgeny, please. Please unmute yourself, Yevgeny. Stop. Oh.
Thank you. In this ideal world, governments and civil society should fully exchange information, share information between each other from the local level to the level of ministries and the higher, for example, a position in hospital which is responsible for communicating with NGOs, and higher level exactly the same, a position at the ministry which is responsible for communication with NGOs, with civil society, and just making sure that every need is met and everyone is happy and every beneficiary got what they wanted.
Thank you so much, Evgenia. Victoria.
For me, my perfect world looks like when we continue decentralization, not just only from national level to local communities, but from local communities to NGOs. I think we need give more power to local NGOs, provide different type of services, take part in decision-making process, support them like a huge, like a big organization who really knows people needs and provide service for them. So I think we must have this balance, transparency between local governments, between local NGOs, local business, and all must work together and change their community to better.
Thank you so much, Victoria. And I know someone who didn't speak yet, and it's Andriy. And it will be your fate to be the last one today, Andriy. Please, just a couple of words on that.
I will be very short. For me, it's very important that government and authorities, they are transparency and no corruption. And if you are talking about how we have to work together, for me, it's important that they do coordination of civil sector to understand the urgent needs in each specific territory, and also that to involve NGOs so that we can communicate and work together in synergy. It's also very important that we don't do the same job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andriy. So yeah, we almost did it, just 1 minute over the timing that we've allotted, and I would like to congratulate all of us on that. I think it was a great meeting today. Thank you so much, everyone. Like so many thanks to our speakers. We are very grateful that you could join us today, but also to those attendees who were with us, our guests. We really hope that this meeting was interesting for you, and we are inviting you to join us next Friday, same time, 10 EST, 5 p.m. Kiev time, and we will talk to famous Ukrainian philosopher, let's say Yevgen Glebovitsky, and our friend Roman Alexeyenko will be, Oleksenko will be the counterpart of Yevgen Glebovitsky, and it will hopefully be a talk show about soft power. So join us next Friday. We will be happy to see you all here. And thank you so much for being here. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. I have nothing else to add. Olga did an amazing job moderating and keeping us right on time, better than I could have ever done. So Diakayu, thank you all for coming, for listening, for joining today. This is really invaluable to know how things are actually working and the amazing work that you're doing in Ukraine right now. So thank you, and come back next week.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.